All right, welcome everyone to Flip It Curiously. I am Tony of Flip It Downside Up, and joining me as always is my good friend and co-host. This is Brennan.
Hey guys, Brennan, Curious Picker.
I probably don't have to say you're Brennan because you're about to say it, but we'll just
okay.
keep it up. We are both resellers. I am a full-time reseller. Brennan is part-time reseller, and we like to hunt for treasures at garage sales, thrift stores, and through people we know. We like to find items that have people believe have a downside and purchase those, and then find buyers for those items, people who believe they have an upside and who will pay a premium for those items.
Yes, we do. The buyers are very important to this whole process, so we greatly appreciate them. So I couldn't have said it better myself, Tony. So guys, today is Wednesday. It's October 20th. I believe this is episode 18. And it's the first one in a month. So apologize. We've been away for a while. We are still resellers, and we do still talk on a regular basis. We just haven't had a chance to put together a pod. So glad to be back with you tonight, Tony. And as always, guys, we like to start with our favorite segment, which we call Sip It, where we will both share a local beer. So I'm going to kick it over to Tony for that sound and see what Tony is drinking tonight.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm going back to one of my favorite breweries, and actually just sent you and John a text about this. Sonder Brewing Company is just out of Mason, Ohio, is about to have their 3-year anniversary, and man, do they have some good looking beers coming out for that are being released. I think we need to have they serve food too, so I think we need to go down there, have some food, and drink some beer here shortly.
Sounds like a plan.
So Sonder Brewing Company, this is called To the Moon. This is a double dry hopped New England IPA. And yeah, I mean, I've had one before, and it is very, very good. What do we got? 8.5% ABV. This is 1 pint I shall be drinking tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very good. It's what I like about their New England's. My favorite beer is their You Betcha, which is their regular New England IPA. And it's a lot fruitier than most that I've had. And I really like that flavor. It's sweeter. This one also is, but it's the double dry hop. It's very good. I highly recommend almost all of the Sonder beers that I've had, but this one is really good.
Yeah, I have to try that one. I've only had a few of their beers. What I have, there was one that I think everyone thought it could have been better.
Man. That damn Kings Island beer was terrible.
It was good for free.
It was. You got it for free. John and I paid for them.
Yeah, suckers.
It should have been. They were really good at milkshake IPAs, which I mentioned because there's a bunch of them coming out in that release for their 3-year anniversary, and I thought that they missed the boat by not making the ice cream flavored beer a milkshake IPA. I'm not really understanding why they went with it. It did taste awfully artificial. I think I didn't like the flavor of it. I have one. Actually, I think I have 2 left because I didn't like them that much. I only bought 4.
Right.
So,
yeah.
That was the only beer I've ever had there that I felt was disappointing. So better next time. Get your crap together, Sonder.
They'll figure it out.
So what do you have today? I mean,
so today I've got Rheingeist Odd Job. I've not had this one before.
From Bond.
Yeah, it's a limited release Imperial India Pale Ale.
Okay.
Imperial IPA brewed with Galaxy, Simcoe, and Mosaic hops.
Okay.
Reverberating with notes of pine, resin, blood orange, and ruby red grapefruit. Okay. Got 8.3% alcohol by volume.
I got you by 0.2.
0.2. I'm gonna go with the frosty mug today.
There you go.
I feel like IPAs are nice out of a nice little frosty mug.
I've never done that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I got these. Got a garage sale, I'm sure.
That's where I get everything too nowadays. It's mostly, it's
Oh, that's
interesting
tasty.
to see between thrift stores and garage sales how much I pick up that comes home for the kids or
Mhm.
for myself. So
All
anyways,
the time.
yeah.
Love
But
it.
yeah, it's been a while since we have been together. What do you think of the beer so far?
It's tasty.
Tasty
It's
beer.
very
That's
good.
what I like to hear.
Very good.
So that's Rheingeist,
Ryan
which
Geist,
is
odd job.
one of I think one of Cincinnati's, probably at least in the area, one of the most well-known of the breweries that's down there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they've got a lot of classic. They've got a lot of really good beers you can find in almost any restaurant down here on tap.
And I think they're probably more distributed, at least here, than most of the other Cincinnati based breweries.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So lots been going on here lately and this last month that have kind of slowed us down. I'm still plugging away at the full-time. Excuse me, already getting. I didn't eat any dinner.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's all right. I ate a bunch of cake earlier, so trying to.
It's got wedding cake for days.
Yes. Yeah, so wedding cake. Yes. So yeah, this past weekend I got married.
Spoiler alert.
Right. And yeah, Brennan and John Cincinnati Picker were both there with their lovely wives, and so I'm very glad you guys got to celebrate with me. You both become very close friends very quickly, and I appreciate all of that. So
Yeah,
thank you for coming.
We're definitely.
It was a good day. It was a good couple of days actually. So we had a good time.
Yeah, we were definitely glad to make the trip up. Glad to be a part of it. Absolutely. It was
I had Costco cake, so
hey, Costco cake is fantastic. I didn't eat any because I don't eat a whole lot of cake, but Costco cake is very good.
I've been eating 3 pieces at a time up there.
Oh man, that's your dinner then.
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, so yeah, I got married this weekend, and so I'm finally. I was gonna say finally things are gonna slow down, but they're not, because in a week we'll leave for our honeymoon. Then a week after that, when we do get back, I'm having surgery on my ear.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that mastoidectomy. They're gonna drill into my head, and hopefully not paralyze my face.
That would not be good.
No, this would be. I'll just smile more in this one just in case.
Just in case.
But no, I think things have been good for both of us, from top to bottom. I don't think there's been.
Oh yeah. I would say it's not been lots of bad things that have kept us from doing this. We're just both been insanely busy.
Yeah.
And we both have
work for you has been really busy.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty much nonstop. So we're heading into the fourth quarter, which is a huge time for Kroger. So, and being in the supply chain, right? Like that's got to get product from point A to point B. So, yeah, we're hopping, but can't complain. I mean, the company's doing very well. So
yeah, for sure.
It's just
the one thing that I didn't really think about. You mentioned quarter four. When we as resellers think quarter four, we think Christmas, right? We think Christmas because that's what we are assuming people are buying a lot of our products for. Now, there's also become, I think, an uptick in the last few years in the sale and purchase of Halloween items. I think that has really gotten big. I don't know that it's ever been bigger than it is now. So there's that, but what kind of jogged my mind on that is the idea of quarter four for Kroger. It's probably even less Christmas and more Thanksgiving. I didn't even think about, for us, it doesn't mean anything other than Black Friday. For you guys, that might be the most food you sell in the entire year.
Yeah, yes. So you've got, I mean, really, when you think about fourth quarter, you have Halloween. So you got all your Halloween candy and stuff, all that, all that fun stuff. And then, yes, you've got Thanksgiving. So you've got the turkeys and the stuffing and the cranberry sauce, all that stuff is just huge. And it's just a very, very important time for Kroger. And I love the holidays personally. I like getting together and, eating food, watching football, just kind of relaxing with the family. So I think that's a big thing as well with Kroger, just wanting everyone to be able to have that good family, holiday experience, as opposed to oh crap, we can't get a turkey, or like there's no more stuffing in the store, right? Like, damn you, Kroger. So yeah, it becomes it's a big deal. We want to make sure everyone can enjoy the holidays. So
for sure. How much does the technology, because you're in the technology area of it, how much does that have, how integral are you in making that happen and making that a reality?
Extremely.
Really?
Extremely. So without going into too much detail, if some of the jobs on my team were to fail at a specific time, it could shut down a warehouse because the warehouse doesn't have the orders sent to them, so they don't know what to pick. So everyone's standing around waiting for work. So you're losing time. You're paying these people not to do anything. Orders aren't being created. If you don't get it done in time, you miss the routing, which means that even if you get the orders, the trucks are gone. So you have to wait until the next day for product to get out. So technology, you don't think about it on the surface when you go to a grocery store.
Yeah.
I worked in the store for about 4 months before I realized how big of a deal technology was to the store.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that.
I had no idea when I first started working there. But yeah, it's a very big deal. There's a lot of moving parts. It takes a lot to get bread from one place to your plate. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun.
Are you guys also pretty integral in, I would assume, in the transition especially since the pandemic? I know there was click list before, but kind of the order online and then come pick it up. How integral are you guys to that as well?
My team, not, and outside of the fact that we do get the store orders to the warehouses and whatnot,
I see.
We don't do much with the click list. That's more on the digital side of the world. So
I got you.
I don't unfortunately I don't have much impact on click list or pickup, whatever we're calling it these days. Just give me my food. That's what it's called.
Well, some of the things we talked about kind of transition into one of the things we had, I talked to my dad yesterday and he just said, he's like, yeah, I bet you guys are going to be busier moving forward with your reselling business because of the shortages and the shipping, not the shipping, but the different shortages and things that are happening out there or supposedly happening out there right now with just regular items. And I thought that was a really interesting take because I hadn't thought about that
either.
But it's possible that if people can't get things, I will say this, I went to Target Friday, the day before the wedding. I went on Friday to pick a few things up. And so Jack and I just walked through the toys. And you go to certain sections of the toys, like Paw Patrol, for instance, there's nothing left. There's very few things left. It's just empty pegs. Wrestling figures, certain action figures, same thing, just empty or stuff that has been there for months that nobody wants. So I am interested to see, like, if people can't get certain items are they going to start looking to secondhand? And I don't mean secondhand for like the Paw Patrol or whatever, but just in general, are they going to start looking at more creative ways to purchase gifts instead of saying, okay, well, they want this one thing. I think I could get this from Target or Amazon, and then they can't. They're like, oh, well, they really do like pro wrestling, so I'm going to go find something from when they were a kid and get that instead. So that's kind of my hope, is that we're going to start to see people kind of filter into eBay on the secondhand market. So it's just a thought. I just curious what you thought. I hadn't thought about it till my dad mentioned it, and it's certainly possible.
Yeah, I had definitely not thought about that. I typically, for me, like well, I guess last year was really the first year that I really had a good fourth quarter because I was actually trying to, keep my store stocked. But I did notice people were just buying the weirdest stuff that I'd had for a long time with no interest come Christmas time. So I hadn't thought about the shortages. But yeah, that's a very interesting point. I'm trying to think of what I have. I don't feel like I have a whole lot of things that people would be pivoting to.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm thinking that I'm hoping that the laser discs will pick up come fourth quarter. Some, eclectic friends will be like, hey, I'm gonna get this for my one buddy that still has a laser disc player or something like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
I actually found about 6 laser discs at a Goodwill recently, and
really?
They were sort of an educational thing. They were all like NASA related, and I thought that could have been a really valuable thing, but I couldn't find any sold comps. And honestly, they probably, because they were just in the records, I probably could have gotten each one for $1, and I think I probably could have sold them, but I just decided, I don't know. So I'm going to pass on them. I couldn't tell, they looked almost as if they had been, we used to burn CDs. That's kind of what it looked like was being done with these laser discs. So I wasn't sure if they were released or what the deal was. But anyways, going to your laser discs, which has been probably one of your biggest, like, if you made like a bullet point list of like things that happened to you during this year, I think laser discs would chess and laser discs would probably be on there. So, yes. And I know chess kind of bled into last year as well, but with the laser discs, how much do you think you've got left there? You're still quite a bit, don't you?
Way too many. So I was actually talking with John about this the other day. I still love the laser discs, and I've still got, I've kept some for my collection. I am over them when it comes to trying to push through all of them. So initially, I had like 700 still that I hadn't, listed, that I was going to say, oh, maybe for fourth quarter, I'll go ahead and start listing these individually. No, I'm done with them. I put them on Marketplace.
I was going to say Marketplace sounds like the place for those.
Put them on Marketplace. And like, I mean, I picked all the really good ones. So
right.
At this point, I think I have someone that is planning to come pick them all up. And at this point, I just want to get rid of them. So I think I'm trading for an Xbox One, like 4 controllers and like $100. And I'm like, dude, this is
take it. I'm done.
They're taking up so much space. They're so heavy. And so I mean, in hindsight, I mean, I'm glad I made the deal, because it was a good deal, and I've made a very good profit off of them. So it wasn't like it was bad. But there's a lot of work that goes into it, and when you buy 1,000 of something, you almost have to look them up individually. And you have to sell a lot of them individually. And we'll talk about this a little bit later. Average sale price for a lot of those is not great. But at a buck a piece, you're still going to make money, but it's a lot. It is a lot. So I will be glad to get rid of the ones I haven't, processed, and the ones I have left, I'm hoping I can, push those out here throughout the fourth quarter. I mean, they're taking up 2 full racks of my space, for the ones that I have listed.
So anybody who's listening, who's a reseller and has bought in bulk before, I know some of you have, when do you decide that enough is enough and you want to move on? So if you want to put a comment down, if you're watching on YouTube, put a comment there. If not, send us an email on flipitcuriously@gmail.com, or send a message to one of us on Instagram, which would be The Curious Picker, @The Curious Picker, or @FlipItDU on Instagram. And those are, those are the places where you can respond to that. But if you've got, let's say you bought laser discs, you bought records, you bought, I have got a crap ton of Barbies and I'm cool with them. I wish I wasn't doing it on consignment. I wish I could have just purchased them and given her, $1,000 or $1,500, because I'd be making serious bank on that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of made me not want to list them, because I know I've got to go back through the numbers and figure out, okay, what fees were taken out? Okay, after the fees were taken out, what's 40% of that? That's what I get. What's 60%? And
Yeah,
I just
messes with your numbers.
It does mess with my numbers, and my numbers are, I actually
messes with
talk
you.
a little bit about my numbers and do an update on that. So yeah, it does kind of skew my numbers a bit. So today I passed as my highest 90-day sales total ever, at least on the app. The app is different than, if you've ever noticed, the app is often different than what's on the eBay page itself. If you go on like in a browser. And that, I think, has to do with either returns or people who didn't pay and cancellations. I don't think it goes off of the app, but it does off of the other one. So, excuse me. Today is my highest 90-day. That was a good burp.
That was good.
90-day sales total ever. I passed $16,500 today.
That's awesome.
And I'm thinking a month ago, I think I was just trying to get past, or I had just passed 14,000, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember the last podcast what my number was.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy with my number, especially considering I've done very little this month in terms of listing, because the wedding took way more time than I expected the last 2 weeks. And then the other thing I noticed today on the eBay website is that my last 31 days from the 20th, actually from the last podcast to today, I am at $7,008 for my 31-day total, which is by far the most I've ever done. So I'm up 57.2% from the last 31-day period.
Awesome.
It's really going well. And then one of the other things I noticed, it kind of struck me, was my listing impressions, which I've been trying to pay a little bit more attention to. My listing impressions are almost at 2.5 million impressions. Wow. So it's up about 25% from a month ago. And 75% of those impressions are coming from my promoted listings, which I don't know how you are doing it. I have literally everything in my store promoted.
Yep. Pretty much the same. I'll list, depending on what the item is, I will promote it right away.
Yeah.
But usually I'll wait maybe like a week, and then I'll just go do a bulk promotion. Yeah. So that way I'm not touching each one to do the promotion. But that almost everything is promoted.
And I kind of noticed, so looking at the fact that 75% of my impressions are, people coming onto my listings are coming from, and that's 2.5 million. 75% of the 2.5 million of my impressions are coming from my promoted listings. Okay, so I just had $7,000 in sales in the past 31 days. My light is falling down because I hit it on accident, and I'm using it as a holder for these as well. Oh God, this one doesn't work either.
That one's falling too.
Everything's falling. Oh, I see why. There we go. Don't. God, hit me in the head in the middle of my podcast.
Leaving it in.
So anyways, I think that I have paid for that $7,000. I paid $140 in fees for promoted listing sales. And if you really think about that, if it's bringing in that many views, $140 for 2.5 million impressions. I think that's a pretty damn good deal.
I would agree.
I don't think you're
definitely
getting that on Facebook for like if you run a local business or anything.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. What are you doing, 2%?
I've gotten to the point where whatever they suggest, I'm putting down. As long as it's not
really? Okay.
outrageous, I'm just going ahead and doing it because I want it to sell. And, we get a lot of our advice from John because of his success that he has had over many years. So if we've hit that big number, for him, a lot of his impressions, I think, start coming from YouTube, or some of them do. I don't know where all of his impressions come from, but for me, starting off, like he's got a machine going.
Yeah.
So I think he can pretty much do, even when he wasn't doing stuff like when you were moving, he might not have had the best months ever, but he was still hitting for a 50-day or for a 90-day total, double what I am right now. And it was just because it's a machine and it keeps going. Once you attain a level, it keeps feeding you, right?
Yep.
And so I'm not at that point yet. So I'm still okay with getting as many people in the door as possible and hoping to close that sale. So if that means that I'm going to do 7% on a Bible that's $100, okay, I'm okay with that. I typically am not going to do it if I see it's something that's above about $7 and what they're saying is how much it would cost me. I typically am going to drop it down. And then I'll drop it to 5% or like 2% or something like that. I started at 2% on everything, and I've just gone ahead and given
what they recommend.
And clearly it's working.
Yeah.
The one thing that kind of bugs me that you just don't know is with almost every sale I've got is through promoted listings. Does it need to be? Or is it happening because I have chosen to pay for that?
Right.
So that kind of bugs me just a little bit because I don't know.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, because I was able to do about 4,000 or so per month without, maybe that had happened in the past without anything promoted.
Yeah.
But I just think with the changes they've made to the promotions, I think that for me still makes sense. And you had mentioned when we did this on the pod a while back that them putting it into like Google shopping or whatever it was, I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
potentially too.
For sure.
So
yeah, and I mean it makes it it makes it another store. Like when you go, you search, I'm searching for, I don't know, microphones near me, right? And if an eBay search can come up with your item, like I think that's awesome.
For sure.
Yeah, I do the promoted. I am sticking with 2%. That's all I'm doing at this point.
Yeah.
Again, I've had my store for a little while as well. Obviously not to the level of John. I think he's got some like 11,000 followers or something like on his store.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I mean, that's another built-in number of people just to start looking at your items. But yeah, I think promoted is fantastic. Like it's easy. It doesn't, it only costs you money if it sells. So yeah, I am a huge fan of it.
I am too. Again, there's just that one little caveat, that one little question I have that I'm just unsure of.
Yep.
But otherwise, knowing that my impressions are 2.5 million, they certainly were not that. I guarantee you they were not that before.
I have not looked at my impressions here recently.
I just so happened to look here earlier. But kind of, I talked through kind of my sales and stuff. How are things going for you with your sales numbers? And you're continuing to have success.
They are pretty fantastic. So I looked just a little bit before the pod today, and I just went to all orders for this month.
Yeah.
So far this month, I've sold 88 items for a total of $5,259.
Nice.
So I feel like that's one of the better months that I've had in a long time. And the my finds plural of the week will have greatly added to that greatly added to that total here recently. So yeah, it's been I've been finding a lot of good things and a lot of good high priced items. So at that number, so 52, 59, 88, I think I put this into my calculator, that is $59.76 for an average sale price, which is almost right where I want to be for average sale price, which we'll talk about here in a little bit as well.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, sales have been very good. I do think like it's really not rocket science with eBay.
Yeah.
You got to get good stuff. You got to list. You have to list on a regular cadence, ship fast, and repeat, and it will continue as long as. I mean, it's not easy. Don't get me wrong; it's not easy. But it is absolutely. It's there. It's absolutely there for you.
Yeah, man, it makes me wonder because I mean, I will admit, I'm not putting a lot of time into listing at all. I'm really struggling to list more than like 2 or 3 days a week. And I'm still selling $7,000 in the last 31 days. So I do think it depends on the items you have. Maybe that's where my impressions are helping as well, where I'm putting that extra money into that. And I'm not saying that this is the right way, but I think about it like, man, if I did list 4 to 5 days per week, even if that's some of the time on the weekend, if I did that, and if I did hit the goals that John keeps he keeps challenging me, and I'm like, he's like 200 listings this month, and I'm like, I'm getting married this month and leaving for an entire week. I'll do my best, and I haven't done my best. That's the thing, is like, I know I'm not putting the time in to do it, but I've got the success I have. So it makes me think, like, if I did that, how difficult, because this is my job. I'm probably putting in 20 some hours a week in my job and doubling what I was making before, working way too much. If I put that time in, I don't think it would be that difficult for me with what I've been finding to hit 10,000 per month. That's a lot. I do know that's a lot, but I think about how much that would change my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already at a point where this is going to change my life where I'm at right now. But if I can bump that and I'm hitting 8,000 a month, that changes my life to the point where it's going to take me a year to pay off credit card debt. And it's going to, I could pay my car off early and then put that money towards debt, whatever I want to do. I can, if I make $8,000 or $9,000 per month in sales based on what I'm getting, that gives me the opportunity to get out of this damn basement, which is a little bit depressing, and into a building similar to what you guys are doing. In my opinion, it makes a huge difference. The more I've talked to you, to John, and to other people, he talks about it all the time. Getting out of the house is so important because there's always something to distract you at home. If you're tired, if you're at the shop, you might lay down on the floor if you're really desperate, but there aren't 2 couches and a bed or 2 or 3 upstairs that can get your attention. The baby's not
yet,
there,
at least.
The kids aren't there. The food's now, Netflix, you can have those things. You can have that stuff at the shop, but it's going to be different. I want to feel the sensation of getting in my car in the morning and going to work. Then I know this is my job. And I would say right now, that's my biggest, the biggest setback. The thing that's hurting me the most is not feeling like I'm going to my job. But I know there's a lot of cost I know there's a lot of overhead involved in that, and that's
Yeah.
I'm going to have to work a hell of a lot harder than I am right now to be able to hit those and maintain those goals.
Yeah, that definitely adds something to it. I guess for me, since I, was really part-time for so long, working out of the house wasn't a big deal. But
Yeah.
it was convenient, like, right? Because it was something I could do, once I got home from work when I was physically in the office.
Right.
So it wasn't a huge deal working there. Obviously, as I tried to increase, and tried to really push it a little bit more, it became a little bit more of a struggle with just space, in general, having everything in your in your storage room and not using your storage room for, Christmas storage. You've got all this other stuff in there. So I could definitely see that. But yeah, the fact that if you're working there downstairs all the time, I could see how that could be a bit of a chore. Not quite as fun as you would want it to be.
Yeah. And no sunlight. I know John talked about, even when he was working in his little storage unit / warehouse type thing he had, that unless I guess he had a window up front, and if he wanted to open that garage door, he could, but like in the winter,
yeah,
he's not doing that. And not having sunlight or windows, like he talks about how much he loves having the windows in the building there.
Yeah.
That would make a huge difference for me. I know, like, just thinking, someone told me that it's supposed to possibly rain tomorrow, and it kind of got me down. It's not supposed to be nice. Kind of got me down, because these days when I have sun, I'm motivated to work, and the weather really does affect me pretty negatively if it's bad weather.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm going to have to really work against, during the winter months, because we in Ohio, we have quite a damn long fall, winter, spring thing. That winter it's kind of like we end up having winter, spring, and then all of a sudden it's 90 degrees in summer.
Yeah.
It's a really weird phenomenon.
It is strange. It is definitely strange around these parts. Yeah, that's a good point. Winter is tough for a lot of people.
For sure.
Just the days are shorter. It's dark all the time, and it's it's got to figure out. There's got to be something to kind of bring some light, during those times, right?
Right.
I don't know what that is.
Nope.
I don't know. It's for me, it's music, but
yeah. I get in a funk.
Yeah, your saxophone.
I haven't got.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what you got to do, man. Got to get it out.
I probably should. I bet it would make me feel good to get that out again.
Heck yeah.
Realize how much I've lost.
What I've read recently, though, in seriousness, about like getting out of like mental funks and whatnot, is having something that you are trying to learn, like working towards learning. For one, it helps keep your mind active, and it keeps it from reverting back to the doldrums, or the darkness, right? It's like, it's active, it's trying to do something new, it's trying to figure something out, and you figure that thing out, you learn it, like it gives you that boost. So that's one thing I've read recently, that learning something, trying to learn something is a really good thing for fighting some of those depression, kind of dark time type deals.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I know. I read here and there.
I haven't done any reading in a while, since I finished my 21-day habit forming challenge, which I have gone back on and not really done my habit much lately. But anyways, let's move into our usual part of the
Proceedings.
Interview, whatever we call this in podcast. We'll go ahead and start with our finds of the week. Brendan, what it's been a couple months. I kind of just did more recent stuff, because I was like,
I
don't remember. So find of the week. What has been, and I think I know this, but what has been your find of the most recent memory?
find of the most recent memory, I went to a garage sale Friday morning, last Friday before work, and I purchased 24 pieces of professional audio equipment, as well as like 6 boxes of cassettes. And it is by far the best find. It's up there with it's one of the best finds I think I've ever found, to be completely honest with you. I spent $410 at the sale, so I got records, the cassettes, and all the audio equipment. I am, let's see, so that was, when was that? So that was last Friday, so 10/15. And I will, let's see, is the sharing available?
I haven't checked since this is a new account here. Multiple advanced sharing. All participants can share. All participants, multiple participants, dual monitors. No, we're not gonna do that. But yeah. Oh shit. Almost. Oh, sorry. I almost ended our session here.
That would have been bad.
All right, there we go. You should be able to share now and get my oh shit out of there.
Nope, leaving it in.
Leaving it in.
Leaving it in. There will be lots. There will be lots of those tomorrow, more than likely.
That's true. Ah, god dang
it. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Case Keenum.
Good old Case. Okay, so here we have, so I'm just going to go through a few of these finds, and I guess some of these could kind of double as sales as well. But one thing that I kind of wanted to point out was I think I ended up buying, I think it was about 300 or so cassette tapes, maybe 325 cassette tapes. The cassette tapes were $15 for all of them.
Wow.
So at that price, I did not feel the need to go through and try to find each gym, because the price was so good. Like, why waste that time? That's just my personal feeling here.
Yeah.
Because I could have gone through here. I could have gone through and I could have sold, I'm sure I could have sold a bunch of these for 10 to 15 bucks a piece, probably. But it's a lot of work.
For sure.
And again, so this was last Friday. Everything I've got from this sale is listed now. That would not have been the case had I, gone through everything.
Yeah.
So this is the first lot that I put out there of 150 cassette tapes, just all types of random, 70s, 80s, 90s stuff. And this sold, I did this at auction, started it at 50. It went for 183.50.
That end today?
That ended today. Yep.
Yeah, I remember. I remember getting the text. I didn't quite hit 200, but
not quite 200.
It's pretty close. Still pretty damn good.
So close. And that one really puts me into the profit now. So earlier today, I was into the profit enough for a cheeseburger. Now I'm squarely into the profit on this whole.
I think it was a double cheeseburger, actually.
I think it was $1.79. So yeah, that's well, I don't know. Is that, can you get a double for $1.79? Probably. But no fries.
He said, heck yeah, that's a double cheeseburger.
Double cheeseburger. I was like, man, that sounds really
so
good right now.
Too.
Oh. Always does.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so I had my son Aiden come to the shop on Friday to help. They were out of school, so I had him kind of going through the cassettes initially, just having him find all of the artists. Yeah. He doesn't know a lot of these genres, so he wouldn't have been able to put together the genres. So yes, this Kiss, so there's 16 Kiss. This sold for 50. It didn't sell for 75. I took an offer of 50, but I was happy with that.
Nice.
So then I said, again, I've got the 24 different pieces of the professional equipment. These things are really, really cool. The one downside to this type of equipment is it's really hard to fully test it unless you really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if you do come across things like this, my advice is to make sure it powers on, make sure it lights up, and just be very honest in your description. Like I'm not a professional. This is all I've tested. So, if you want me to look at something else, tell me, or else, you're kind of assuming that risk. But yeah, it's been, no, that's not it. So there's another piece for 125. So yeah, it's been a really, really good sale so far.
Yeah.
So I'm at 163.27 in profits, and average sale price is 76.46. And I've got a couple other ones I haven't put in here yet. Some things aren't working, so I sold them, for parts. But it was awesome. It was by far one of my absolute favorite finds this year.
Awesome. Do you have your what is that? Your spreadsheet set up so that the one thing that I don't have is I don't have it doing calculations. I didn't ever set that part up. Is yours set up so that it calculates things out for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I just put formulas in there.
Sure. Yeah, I don't care. So I'm not a math person.
You said you're not a math person?
No, not at all. Somehow my kid is in the 98th percentile in math, and in second grade he's testing into the halfway through fourth grade, but it didn't come from his mother or myself. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I can send you this. I mean, this is a really simple template. I can send it for you. So like, I just do my whatever the eBay fee is. So you take the item cost times the percentage, so 12% or whatever, and then your profit is just the cost of the item minus the fees.
It's just so hard to know what your dang fees are because they've got them different on categories now, and then sometimes they'll have you putting them in categories that actually aren't the categories, and
that's a good point.
Payment processing too. So
I mean, this is meant to be a loose representation. Like you're close, right? I usually will do 12. It might actually, I should probably bump it up to 14 at this point because of most of my items being promoted listings.
Right.
So yeah, you can make a ballpark and just throw something there just so you have an idea. Right?
Yeah,
just so you know. But yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So yeah. So what have you found? I know you've got some good stuff flowing over there.
I've found so many good things lately. I don't know the last time I went to a garage sale. I've been doing a lot of thrift stores, and I have been really doing incredibly well at the thrift stores, which is something I'm going to talk about here in my tip. But my find of the week. So I went on Monday to the local, one of the Goodwills here locally, and I found. I was going around. I was looking for certain things. Didn't find what I was looking for, and then I looked back at the carts. They had like 2 or 3 carts sitting in the back, which is not typical. There might usually be 1, but not 3. And I got back there and I was looking at some books and some CDs or DVDs and stuff, which there was nothing. I looked down and I saw this giant Halloween inflatable. And I was like, okay, I know that stuff can have value. And I noticed on the front, I noticed on the front that it was only $13. And I was like, okay, I don't know if it works, but I'm going to look it up. And so I bought this 6-foot whirlwind globe, Grim Reaper thing. And
that's awesome.
Gemmy, which is the, I've got it back here, Big Mouth Billy Bass and a bunch of those different talking things. There's some different Christmas items. I sold a Penn State Nittany Lion that sings and dances recently that was also that brand. So I paid $13 for this thing. That was the first thing I saw. I grabbed it. $13. It looks like that sells for, I think I can sell that for between 100 and 150 potentially if it works. And then I looked right next to it, and there were all these models. There were model jets and model spaceships. So I'll at least show this one. I paid $15 for this giant thing, and it's label slapped right on there. It definitely came from Amazon.
Yeah,
you can tell.
That's brand new.
It has not been put together. Actually, every model I bought it was new.
Yeah.
Most of them were not sealed anymore, but they had not been put together. So this thing is missing the manual for assembly, but I did contact a company to see if maybe I can get a replacement. Either way, this thing pre-owned sells for about 200, 150 to 200. I paid 15. Brand new. There were several sold comps for between 300 and 375. Just that alone. And I ended up picking up about 6 different pieces, some spaceships. This sells for between probably 30 and 50. That was like $5.99.
So I would say so that first one you showed that sells for like $300 or something. Yeah. Like if I went and picked that up at a store and I saw that comp, I would have listed it right away. I would have been able to stop myself. I would have been so excited, like, oh, listing it right now. Let's get it out there.
Right.
Like that's amazing. That's oh my gosh.
But I wanted to make sure it had what it needed, and it doesn't look like.
Yeah.
And I kind of want the manual to see to make sure that all the parts are truly in there. Because one thing I don't want is to ship something that large. I mean,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Is it heavy?
It's relatively. I mean, it's definitely. I don't know. Probably. I'm bad at this. Probably 6 to 8 pounds at least. But so I ended up picking up 6-7 pieces that day. I paid $65 for everything, but I bought that inflatable. I bought this. I bought a sealed one that I've got listed for like 65. I mean, I was amazed at what I found.
Dude, you're killing it at the thrift stores, man.
Yeah. And then I went the next day and I thought, well, maybe they've got some more. So I went and spent another, $35-$40 on other, that I hope maybe they had more high-end stuff that they hadn't put out. I did find 1 or 2 that might be $50. But I found a bunch of, other things there, models. And so I was really happy with that. And then I don't know if you remember, you remember my spiritual warfare Bible? It was a leather-bound thing I found.
I've been looking for them ever since.
Yeah, last night, I was with Luca after his swim lesson, and I had found a couple things, just random stuff like this. I just found this random for $3.99. It's what's that say? Cajun injector, Batter Pro. And I don't know what it is, but it was $3.99. And the sold comps for that are between 35 and 50 just alone. That was just sitting in a cart at about 7 o'clock last night, 6:30, 7 o'clock last night. And so we were getting ready to leave. I said, all right, buddy, we're going to leave. And I was like, I don't usually look at their book section. And I ran over there and I found 2 Bibles. One's called the Crossfire. I have that listed. It was $6.99. It is also leather bound and signed, not by God, but by some other guy. And but it's really nice. I paid $6.99 and I listed it for $99.99.
Wow. Was it? You said it's leather?
It is leather. Yeah.
What's it called again?
Very nice. It's the Crossfire Bible, and I think it's King James or New King James. And then I picked up Dan Brown. They have the book called The Lost Symbol, and usually those, these probably don't have value, but I'm gonna look anyways. Mm-hmm. And I did, and it's the illustrated version, and the illustrated version has sold comps of somewhere between 25 and 40 a piece. So I grabbed each of those for $2.99. And then I found the Spiritual Warfare Bible, which was not leather bound. It was just a regular hardcover book, but $2.99. I have that listed right now. Sold comps are all over the place. I have it listed for $124.99. So I've found, and I'll just go ahead and do my tip of the week right now. And that's source whatever way makes sense for you and your business model. Some people that we know, some people poo-poo thrift stores, especially Goodwill. But I've been absolutely killing it at Goodwill with my finds lately. I talk to you guys about it all the time. Hey, I found a bunch of this particular item, which is my bolo, which I decided to delete and don't want to talk about as my bolo. I think I'm just going to keep that one to myself because it's been working for me.
It's been a good one. Yeah, absolutely.
So I've spent a ton of money at Goodwill lately, but I've also got the potential to make a crap ton of money on Goodwill. Do what makes sense for you. It's there, it's out there. It depends on when you go, how often you go. And it, you know, I've been doing this full time only a few months. I've been doing it more part time over the past year and a half. I've learned so much in that time. And I think the more you learn, the more you open your mind to looking at things you wouldn't have looked at before, the more money you can potentially make. Because there's so much out there that has value that we have no clue has value. So that's my find of the week, and my I'll say and my tip of the week.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, it's reselling is not a one size fits all. Like there are tons of different resellers, tons of different styles. Just like I like that point. Just do what works for you. Obviously take advice, learn from others, but ultimately you've got to do what works for you and what feels comfortable for you and what's working for you. Like that's that's a really good tip.
And I think if you want to kind of just put it into perspective, I know John sells a whole lot of stuff. He is an incredible reseller. And he doesn't go to the thrift stores. He's garage sales and connections, networking, bulk buys, right? Mm-hmm. Tim Osborne to Thrift. Almost all of it is thrift stores. Tim just hit in his 90-day sales total, 90 grand. Thrift store, almost all of it is thrift store buys. So it shows that it depends on your business. It depends on what works for you and what you want to do in your business. It's working for me right now. Do I want to do what John does and be able to bulk buy? Absolutely. But I've got to get enough sales to build capital to get to the point where I can spend that money that he's spending and not spend as much time outsourcing. It's part of building to where I want to be. And so, that's my tip.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I mean, I guess I'll go out of order with my tip too. It's going to piggyback off of that. And my tip is more for people that are just starting or are trying to start. So obviously, I'm assuming those that are starting are you're watching YouTube guys, you're watching people like John, you're seeing the amount of money that they're putting out at sales and whatnot. And it's a very simple tip, but it is you do have to start small. Mm-hmm. Like you cannot just expect to jump in and drop $500, $600 at a sale and make things work. So I know when I started for at least for like the first year or two that I was going out on a weekend, I took $100 and that was it. Yep. Once that $100 was gone, I was done. Mm-hmm. That was it. I'm not, there was no, oh, let's stop at the ATM and grab a little bit more and see what we can do. It was $100 and let's see, let's make this work. Let's find at least one item that we think we can sell for 100 and it'll be good. So my tip is reselling is not a sprint. It is a marathon. Start slow. Mm-hmm. Research, learn, grow, and you will continue to grow if you can follow the process and to kind of keep it, just don't make it too difficult on yourself would be my main tip there.
Very cool.
We're very out of order today. But.
That's all right. Well, since you did your find, didn't you? Okay, we already did that.
Yeah, we did.
Find. We got our find and our tip in there. And we're about an hour in already, which is pretty good for us actually. We haven't gone too terribly off track so far.
Yeah, no, that's very impressive actually.
So I'll go into sale of the week, and for me, my sale of the week, I found at Valley Thrift. I don't know if I had found this prior to when we did our pod last. I'm not sure. I may have, but I paid $20. It is a Little People, so a Fisher Price Little People Zoo Talkers, and it's Animal Sounds playset, and it's $20. It was brand new in the box. I think it initially was released maybe in the early 2010s. I paid $20 for it. I listed it for $175, and when I went to pick up my suits with my groomsmen on Friday, I got the notification that it had sold. So $175, and they paid $35 in shipping. So over $200 for that item, and I paid $20 for that. So that is definitely my sale of the week this week. I did bring up. Let's see where my browser is. I brought up some other stuff. I guess I could I'll go ahead and share and show you what I've got here. I can figure out where it is. I just made it smaller. Share screen. Is my screen being shared?
A really tasty beer.
Heck yeah, mine is too. You see that?
Yep.
All right.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what it looked like, and $20. And I think people thought it was used. The bottom of the box had kind of been opened just a little bit, and I looked inside, and the characters, the animals, were still in the packagings. They were still in plastic and stuff. And, I guess I run the risk that maybe something could have fallen out of said box, but it had never been opened. The box itself clearly had never been opened. So I was okay with making that investment. And I think it has gone well for me.
Yeah. How much was it? 20, you said?
$20.
Jeez.
So this is the best sale I've had out of the Barbie consignment so far. So the only reason I want to show this is because most of us resellers, if you look at our demographics, not everybody, our demographic is completely like probably 80 or 90% male. And I don't think most guys are going to look at Barbies if they see them at a sale or something. So I wanted to show you kind of what has been selling really well for me and what has value, because if I went and saw this at a garage sale, I might take a look at it and think it's cool, but I might not pick it up. Mm-hmm. All right. So this one is the Munsters gift set. This one sold for $225. I get 40% of that after fees. So I was pretty happy about that, but that's one that sold. Let me take a look at some of these other ones. Here's another one. I wouldn't have guessed this. This is the Lord of the Rings. Whoever Arwen and Aragon are NRFB. I've learned during the Barbie thing that means never removed from box.
I was going to ask you what the heck NRFB. I was trying to think new, refurbished.
Because for Barbies, that's a big deal, right? Never removed from box. The box may have been opened at some point, but it's never been removed from the box, and they are still in place in whatever the original packaging was. But this one sold for $160. I never would have guessed that it would go for that much. And honestly, looking at this now, I don't know if these are the actual prices I sold them for, because I accepted offers on a lot of things, but I think it was $160. This one sold just the other day. This is Uhura, Lieutenant Uhura, which is the it's a black label, African American, even with the Star Trek, has a lot of value with the Barbie. So this one sold for $125. I had listed it for a lot more than that, but I decided I wanted to sell it. With this, I am a lot less concerned about the profits. I want to move them quickly. And I have moved a lot. I've moved a ton. Addams Family, similar set to the Munsters, but not as valuable, $120. That one, that was another one. Let me see what I got here. No. Okay. So those are the Barbies that I've sold here recently. So here's my advice to people. Another tip is, if you're going out and you find some Barbies, the ones that are based on TV shows, there's some sort of a character. I've got a lot of Harley Davidson ones. There's just like, if you see pink label, black label, that anywhere on there, that typically means they're more valuable. They're a little bit more
rare.
Rare, yes. I think when we were growing up, a lot of girls I knew, including my cousins, would collect those damn holiday Barbies. And those are completely worthless because everybody collected the holiday Barbies. So this is just to give some people a little bit of advice or tips, maybe things they didn't know. I guess I'd say bolo.
Yeah.
I guess I'll use that as my bolo when you're looking and you see Barbie dolls. If they're in the package and they have some sort of a theme to them, take a look them up, see what you can find, because a lot of them have a lot more value than I ever would have guessed.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I would not have, I don't, I want to say that I would have looked up like
I would have
the
looked up the
Monsters
Monsters
one
for sure
if I saw it at a sale.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's really good to know. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to, what was it? Monster High Dolls. I haven't found those in forever.
Mhm.
Those things can be crazy unless things have changed since last time I've looked at them. But no, that's awesome.
For sure. All right, so I'm going to go to some of my past bolos, or my past bolos that turned into sales here recently, and one of them, I don't know if I've talked about it yet, but I sold these drop-in baby bottles. These were just things her dad, Christy's dad, gave us that were at his mom's house in case we wanted to use them with the baby. I said, I'm going to look these up. Holy shit, these have value.
The baby's not getting these.
Nope, these nipples going somewhere else. And interestingly enough, if I am not mistaken, the same person has bought every one of these Playtex bottles that I put up, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't have any left, but I do have I think I said this to you guys, this is not Dateline, but I do have a bag full of nipples left.
Oh, jeez. Oh, it sounds so terrible.
It sounds terrible, but I have them. So this set of 4 sold for $99.99 in like an hour. And then I sold these 3 for $74.99. Like I said, I think the same person, either in Oregon or Washington, something like that. It was over on the coast. So be on the lookout, Bolo, again, for these types of baby bottles where they're drop in. It's got like the really dark, I guess the dark brown, what they call, I think, flat nipples, which I think a lot of the ones you see nowadays are rounded. And I think that is the difference of what people are maybe looking for some of them.
People actually using these?
I think they are. Wow. I don't know why. And that's funny because I talked about this in my networking group the other day. I got an offer. Ooh, sweet. You are totally, what? Why would you offer that? Watch this. Hold on. I'm going to make this work. Let me open my iPad real quick and make sure the sounds are on so that I can get the sound now. Where's that offer? Don't accept the other one. On notifications. Looks like they're on. Yes, they're on. Volume should be up real nice and high. I'm going to accept this offer real quick. See if it does it. Ah, damn it, it didn't do it. So I don't have it on my phone, but this thing will randomly ching ching, and I don't know why I didn't just do it. So it ching ching. So I just sold a pocket knife for $23.99. Do you know what I had it listed for?
$24.50.
$24.99. You want to tell me why you would send that offer? Like,
just buy it.
You got a damn deal there.
My goodness.
No sounds.
Another one?
No, it's the same. It's just I got the email for it. But anyways, and those I got a bunch of these knives for free from. I told you I was going down there. I think right after that podcast, I was going down to a private pick. I may not have known that at the time, but anyways, I got some free stuff and I've made good money on it already. So
nice.
This guy, this is Pawpaw, this plush.
So
I talked
cute.
a long time ago about, I think it was in the summertime, maybe June, about Makeship. And Makeship is one of these companies who I think does like a crowdfunding or crowdsourcing. And then once it hits a certain mark, it will produce the item and ship it out. And this one was from a podcast called Not Another Dungeons and Dragons Pod. And I don't know who this dude is. His name is Paw Paw, and this is the paralegal version.
That's awesome.
But I paid like 50 cents for this, and it sold for $80.
Jeez.
Somebody finally sent me an offer. I had it listed for 125 forever, and someone sent me an offer on it while I was at Goodwill the other day, and I went, yes.
Yep.
Sure.
50
All
cents
right.
to $80.
Here's a Scream mask that I did want to talk about. If you ever see this Skeleface, it is very rare. I think I sold it for 75. I've got one on wait. I sold two of them. I found two in the same day for $6.99 each. And I sold one, I think, for 85 and one for 75. So
Skeleface.
Skeleface. It's the one that looks like the skeleton. It's very hard to find. I found two at different Goodwills in the same day.
Wow.
And
what does it sell for if it's used?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Yeah.
I would guess that it's still selling for a good amount. And then if you ever find the Scream masks from literally from the 90s, 97, 98, if you find any of those, they're worth hundreds of dollars. Hundreds
97 or 98.
Anything from original.
Is it the same brand or is it a different brand at that time?
I think it's called like Easter Unlimited.
Okay.
Fun World Easter Unlimited, something like that. Those ones will have, from what I've researched, those ones will have like on the back of the chin, a lot of them have like an etching in the plastic. This one, the newer ones do not.
Okay.
I think it might be a different company, and the face looks a little bit different. So just kind of take a look at some of those on eBay, and just you'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know if I talked about this or not, but I did sell that Ralph Lauren sweater. I think we did talk about that. No, we must not have.
Not on here.
5th. Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember seeing that.
Yeah. I think I sold it for 100 and I think I sold it for 175. That's what it says. I don't remember. I paid $10 for it.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And that was I just so happened to look it up and I went, holy crap, and bought it. So, and then this one, no, we wouldn't have talked about either if I sold it on the 22nd. I sold two sets of these. I bought them for $2.99 each at the thrift store. They're on a bottom shelf. This was at our local St. Francis. I bought two of them. They each sold for $135 plus shipping to the same lady within minutes. Not minutes of listing, but minutes of her finding it. Yep. I got one and I went to send it to you guys and she sent the second one purchased. So it's really gone well, as you can tell, with the, like I said, $7,000 in the last 30 days. I've never come close to that number.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. That's good stuff.
Yeah. So what do you have? Did you do a sale of the week yet?
No,
I don't think so.
I did. I mean, I had some sales that I was showing.
Right.
And I mean, some of those might be higher than what I'm going to show now. But so one thing I'm going to go through here. So you mentioned chess earlier.
Yeah.
So, and you also mentioned, when is enough enough?
Yeah.
with things that you've had. Well, when is enough enough?
Yeah.
So I got to that point. I got to that point with my chess books. Actually, right before I made this last buy, it was like perfect timing that I was like, you know what? I think I'm good. I think I'm good here. So I went through, I had 3 or 4 bins that still had chess books in them. I went ahead and pulled all of them out, shut down all the listings, and just threw them out there in big lots.
Mm-hmm.
I put them in auctions, but I put them in auctions. Both of these here, I started at 25.
Yeah.
And I got an offer for 100 and an offer for 90 from the same person, so I just took it because I was so far into the positive on that sale. So I was really happy to move those. So here we've got 96 chess books. These went for 190, and then the shipping he paid. So that was obviously not cheap for him.
Yeah.
And then I had one other lot that just sold today, I think, it was like 57 or something like that. So all my chess stuff is gone.
Oh, wow.
And that opened up about 4 or 5 bins
Dude, you're right at almost a year.
Yeah.
On that purchase. So yeah, I get that for sure.
It's like, let's move it out of here. It's been here long enough. I've made
So much money on that.
way more than made my money on that. I think I'm trying to think if I had that up actually.
It's interesting too. That kind of shows. I'm going to use that as a kind of a jumping point on it shows about what networking can do for you as a reseller and just in general as a person. Like, had I not reached out to you and started talking with you, and then after a couple months talked about these Salvador Dali, prints that I had, you wouldn't have come to Dayton to pick that up. This is right around Christmas.
Yep.
You wouldn't have come to pick that up and also then look to see if there was any sales in the area while you came up.
Yeah.
Like, that wouldn't have happened. And it just so happened that chess club was shutting down here in Dayton that weekend that you were coming up. And so, man, it just goes to show, reach out to people, and networking is super important. I just paid $700 to be in a networking group, my networking group, officially now with my own business. And it's awesome. I love it. I'm sure I will make, over time, I'm going to make my money back and profit off of that. So people seem really interested when I talk about things in our group because it's so different than anything they've ever experienced.
Yeah. And you'll continue to open up more doors for, for more items.
Sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So for that chest buy, I spent $272 a year ago on all of that. I don't have the official numbers, but at last check that I was looking at, it was over 2,000 in profit. So I'll probably go back and double check just to see with everything else that's sold recently, but it was a fantastic buy. It's still probably my favorite buy and the best buy, just because it was, $272, like, for all of this was just fantastic. So that was one of my big sales this week, one of my favorite sales this week. Talk about that in here in a second. So this guy, I have two of these.
Mm-hmm.
I've had these for so long, and I'm really, really ready to. That's the theme of this, is I'm really ready to move on from some of these things.
Right.
So these are really cool, like super old school hockey game here. I paid $30 a piece for the two that I have. So finally got one to sell here for $120. It did go overseas, and I think he ended up paying like $210 altogether for this with the shipping, which I kind of felt bad. I'm like, man, that is so much for shipping to get something over there. But hey, it is what it is. So I was very happy with that sale. Glad to get that one. Glad to get that one moved out.
It's from the 50s. Is that what that says?
I believe this one is from the 50s. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. It is super old school. It is just all metal. Like, it's really cool. It's a very, very cool piece. So I got one more. Hopefully that one will sell here soon as well, so I can get rid of that one because they're big.
Yeah, for sure.
They're big. It cost me $30 just to ship it to Kentucky.
Wow.
Like, it was a very, very big box. And I think I'm trying to decide here if this is my. Yeah, this will be. I'll go sale, whatever. Okay, so I've been buying a lot of Thomas stuff here recently. So I went to a garage sale, and a guy had a big bin of Thomas stuff for. He had it listed at 100. I was able to get it to. I was able to get him down to 70 for it. And inside of that, this was the first set of what I sold out of that listing, or out of that lot. So there's 35 trains. These are all Brit Alcroft, which is early, or I think it's like late 90s is where that one is. Now, anytime if you see Thomas trains, you can, if you pick up the train and look underneath the wheel, I don't think I have a good picture in here, but if you look on the inside of the wheel, it'll tell you exactly what the make is. It'll tell you, you can see Brit Alcott, or you can see Mattel, or Guden, something like that. You'll be able to tell very easily what it is and what the year is. So these are all wooden. Brit Alcott appears to be a really good one to look out for. So 35 trains sold for $125. You can see some of these are not in the best of condition, right? I mean, they're relatively beat up. They're well played. So that was just, just the trains. And then here, let's see if I can pull this up. I'll hide that buyer's name. So this was also in with that set. So this was the track and some of the buildings. So I put all these out in one big lot. It sold for $110. So again, really very, very happy with that. I will say Knapford Station, this is not one of the better ones, but Knapford Station is a very good one to look out for. They have one that's from 2009. It's a dual Knapford Station. That one sells for about 100 or so by itself, just those two pieces there. So Knapford Station, anything you see Knapford Station is typically going to be worth picking up. I have one wooden train, one small train that's a Knapford Station that I have listed at like $40.
Okay.
So yeah, those are, so I'm all into the Thomas right now.
Awesome.
I've got a bunch of pictures I just took today, and I think I've got another one I'm looking at on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm probably going to pick up as well. I've seen a lot out there on Facebook Marketplace recently.
Cool.
So really digging that. And I'll do my quick bolo.
Yeah.
It's a Cirque Du Soleil, this anniversary DVD collection. I picked this up at a sale for $6, and it sold for $60. Wow. This is religiously selling right around that $55-$60 range. So I always like trying to have a good little easy bolo. It's easy to ship, easy to store. For anyone that's new, you don't have to worry about breaking it. You don't have to worry about difficult packing. So I like to give those out as good bolos. So that's what I got.
Awesome. Love it. All right. Well, it looks like we got all our bolos and our sales and tips and everything. You have any other tips? I think you did your tip along with mine. Mm-hmm. So let's jump in. Right now we've done pretty good on our time, actually, even though we still. So let's talk about, like, our main topic today. We wanted to talk about is average sale price, and I think this can be a very hot topic between resellers, because we all have such different viewpoints on what works for us and what doesn't. And I think I'll go again with that caveat as we begin to discuss this, is do what works for you, but also don't overwork yourself for not very much money.
Yeah.
So okay, let's kind of. So what is average sale price? The average sale price that we're talking about, the way that eBay calculates everything, is if I sell an item for $20, the average that sale price is not $20. It's $20 plus whatever tax is collected, plus whatever shipping is collected, and that makes it a little bit. I didn't like when they changed it to that, or I think they changed it to that. I'm not a big fan of that, but I understand it now, because technically the shipping for us as a business owner is a sale, part of the sale. It's part of the profit that we make. It's just that we charge them for the shipping, so they're paying for that, and we are going to and then end up deducting the cost of the shipping when it goes to tax time for us. So that's what the average sale price is. Brennan, why do you believe that focusing on average sale price is important as a reseller?
So for me, it's because if you really focus on driving up your average sale price, you can make a lot more money with a lot less work. And it's as simple as that. So, I was talking about those cassette tapes, right? There are 150 cassette tapes. So yes, I could have pictured 150 cassette tapes. I could have maybe sold them for $8 to $10 a piece, and it would have taken a lot more time to sell, a lot more time to process, and your average sale price, would be $8 a pop for, for a while, right? Until you got through all of those. Whereas one big listing, 5 days, it's gone, and you get a big sale of $183. So could I have potentially sold those for more? Yes. But one listing, one box, one label, and it's gone, versus packing up 150 separate items. So what you really have to think about with that average sale price is, if you can increase your average sale price, reduce the amount that you have to ship out.
Yep.
Like you're reducing the amount of boxes you're using, you're reducing the amount of packing materials you're using, and you're just reducing the amount of time overall that you are spending on working, but you're still making more money. So for me, it's all about making more money. And I don't want to say doing less work, because it's still work.
Yeah.
But it is less work if you really if you really look at it. So to
Sure.
me, that's what really focusing on increasing that average sale price is. So you mentioned Osborne to Thrift earlier, right? Like, he's at 90, it was 90K for 90 days, and it was like 1,000 listings. I think 1,000 sold.
I can't remember how many it was.
Something around there. So I mean, like, that's what, I don't know exactly his number, but you're looking at close to $90 for an average sale price, right? So, if your average sale price is 45 and you want to do 90K, you're doing 2,000 sales in a 90-day period, which is just, I don't think that is viable.
Yeah.
So I think it's, ultimately, if you can figure out the number that you're trying to get to overall, right, for a 90-day total, and figure out okay, this is how much I want to actually ship in 90 days.
Yeah.
That's going to tell you, all right, so I need to be looking for things that are going to sell for 40, 50, $60. Like, and it doesn't mean that you don't ever buy something that's only going to sell for $20. It just means that your goal and your focus is on things that are going to sell for 50 plus.
Yep.
For me, at least.
Yeah. So I look at it in a couple of different ways. So let's take those 150 cassettes that you had. You mentioned it, then you have to have 150 boxes, or depending on how you're going to ship them, you could ship them in small boxes that you would probably have to purchase, or you're going to send them in padded mailers. But, with a cassette tape, they're pretty fragile. So what I do when I sell them is I put them between two pieces of cardboard to just make it a little less likely that damn thing's going to crack. Because if you have ever had a cassette, that those things crack when you look at them. Yep. So shipping them in a padded mailer is going to cost, be an issue. Then you've got all that extra cardboard. You've got potentially, I use painter's tape to kind of adhere, because that doesn't ever pull anything if it gets on anything. You've got every label, 150 labels. Well, I know that I can pay, for 500 labels, it cost me like $25. I can't remember what I pay for it, but still, that's a cost associated. And then all of that time it takes you to pack every one of those. You're selling them. And chances are you're not selling them quickly either. Okay.
Nope. No chance.
So there's all these factors involved in that. And so what I've been trying to do is I have tried to get my average sales price up a little bit. Last month, mine was lower because I was trying to clear out old inventory from before I really got involved with, you and John and started learning more. So I was trying to clear stuff out. So I was selling a lot of stuff that was pretty low end. What I've been doing lately is I will still pick up something for $1 that's going to sell for $10 to $20, right? Or more, whatever. But I'm not picking up many items that sell between that $10 and $20 range. I'm looking for $20+ on every item I pick up because I still want quantity. I still want the quantity there. And if it's something that's going to sell easily and I pay, $3 and it goes into 20, I'm okay with that. But I've really been limiting what I buy at thrift stores to things that I know have a higher value. I'm stopping, taking a chance on certain things, and I'm taking a chance on things that seem to have a higher potential. So one thing that I've done, and I'm going to use this as an example. I have sold over the past 31 days, I said $77,008.31. That's 140 items. And my average sale price is $50.06. I don't even want mine to be $50 as an average sale price. I'm happy mine has consistently stayed about, above $40. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. And I think that's one of those reasons I told you I'm not listing a whole lot. I'm not working as much as I should, is because I am selling things for higher values. And my numbers, again, are skewed a little bit based on that damn consignment deal that I'm doing. So the one thing I wanted to point out, I've shared this with you and John before. There's a specific person that I follow, and I think he follows me on Instagram. I'm not going to say anything about that person's name because that's not what I'm trying to do here. But I'm trying to create a conversation about this. So this particular reseller posts often their 90-day total. And I'm noticing the 90-day total is similar to mine. It's like a little over 14,000. I've sold, I think mine was like 365 items in the past 90 days. Theirs is 763. So it's 763 items of $14,000. That averages out to be about $18.50 per item with shipping.
Wow.
So if you think about the amount of work with 1,000 active listings, 700 some sold items, and if you're listening, I'm not doing this as a gut punch or anything. It's just starting that conversation. Does it make sense for you to list all of those things? Because it does, and ship those things. It still takes time, even if it's something easy. There's two other resellers who are very adamant about not caring as much about their average sale price, and that's Lonnie. I've noticed he and John had a major conversation on one of their last podcasts about average sale price, because John's really big into that, and Lonnie is not. He doesn't believe that that's important. If he has something that is going to sell for $10 and it's easy, throw it in a thing. And I get that. I'm totally for that. But it's when you start to go out of your way to sell these things that are really, really low cost. And then the other one, I think, Commonwealth, he likes to part things out and sell things for pretty cheap as well. Now, they also have really big high-end stuff too that they sell, and that evens them out. And I think that's important. I think you need to have a balance between the two. You can't sell a bunch, 700 things that are only like $15 plus shipping,
right?
Or you're just going to work yourself to death. I think you really need to think about, what can I change? What can I source differently? How can I source differently to make this work better for me? So
yeah,
that's my thought on the average sale price. I know that, like I've said, John And I think that a lot of the reason why I've focused on mine more lately is because John talks about it all the time. That's something that's really important to him and his business. And he's passed that on to you, and it's become really important to your business or your side business. And it only makes sense that the amount of that we talk, that it should also affect, and be important to me and my business. And it has. And so my average sale price over the course of the past month is up 43.7% from the prior period. So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever fallen below as this last year or so. I don't think I've ever been below like $35 or something. I keep mine pretty high, but I think you want to try to, I would say that most resellers, you should probably attempt maybe be over $25 per item. I would say would be kind of your lower threshold of what, you wouldn't be working yourself to death in that,
Yep.
in that particular instance.
Yeah, I would agree.
I know a lot of these people who have lower sale prices sell a lot of trading cards and stuff, and those aren't necessarily I think that they take a little bit of time to ship. It's not terrible, but they do take a little time to ship. Anyways, that's just my insight on average sale price and why we wanted to talk about it, because I really do believe the more, the higher your average sale price, more likely, the less time you're putting into each item. Now, for shipping, if you got big high-end items, a lot of times, John would tell you there was one day he's like, I think I sold all of my big annoying to ship stuff within the same 3-day period. And so he had a lot of time into
Yep.
packing items and finding boxes and finding things for those items. So I do see that there's this dichotomy. I don't know if that's the word, but you got this double-edged sword where you are selling higher end items, but a lot of times, or some of the times, some of those are going to be hard to ship. It's going to take a little more effort, but I just think like putting 30 minutes into that versus 30 minutes into listing 20 trading cards or something small that's only going for $5 to $10 each. It's kind of that video game thing. You see so many people buying video games, and then they get them, and it's like, well, congrats, you got this system and a bunch of games that nobody wants. How are you going to sell those? I don't even really look at the video games much anymore at all.
Really?
I mean, if I see an N64, I'm picking the son of a gun up.
Okay. Yeah.
If I see PS2, PS3 games, Xbox games, which you see a lot, unless I see Mario, it's not worth me looking up the majority of them.
Yeah, there's so much crap out there. So, I mean, there's definitely some good stuff. And again, I think that, again, it goes back to kind of what you're into.
Yes, I agree with that.
Like I like video games. I'm not overly enthralled with them. I can't tell you the last time I actually sat down and really played a video game. So that's not something I'm super enthralled with. But I will look through your records. Depending on the time of day, though, I will say. I'm not going to look through records typically early on in the day. I just don't want to spend the time. I don't want to waste the time. Right. I don't want to say waste the time, but I don't want to spend that time early in the day looking through records. Sure. I'd rather go out there and look for some other bigger stuff. But
and you've had your garage sale finds. I don't know. You guys have some crazy stuff down there.
It is pretty amazing down in these parts.
Probably try to get myself out to some. I know there's not a lot of garage sales left, but you never know what you can find. I saw one that started today, actually, locally.
Really?
I had other plans in mind for what I needed to get done today. Now, and when I say I'm not going to look very hard at video games, I'm talking about at thrift stores. The thrift store video games, I found something every once in a while. I found one yesterday or Monday at Valley Thrift. It was 25% off. It's like Grand Theft Auto Liberty City or something. And that it has really good resale value. I found one last night with all the Bibles and stuff that I would have purchased. It was like the Lord of the Rings PC game. And that would have been about $40 for $2.99, but disc one was missing. And I was like, I can't buy that. So I do still look, but I've gotten to the point where, especially with Wii, I'll look at Zelda, I'll look at Mario, I'll look at things that are not your typical. I'm not going to look at Dance Dance Revolution and Just Dance, and it's just like a lot of the same crap. I know there are certain games that have value though, and so if I have a question, I'll quickly scan it. But there's nothing that pisses me off more than thrift stores that put their price over top of the barcodes. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's so annoying.
Knock it off.
so annoying. I agree with that.
Do you have any other comments about average sale price and like why you think? I mean, we already talked about why we think it's important, but I guess I'll say again, do what works for you. It's the same thing I did with my business. You know your business, you know what works best.
Yeah.
I would venture to guess that the higher you get your average sale price, though, the more likely it is you're making more money and you're working. You might be working the same, but you're going to be making more money. That's just my thought, my opinion on that. And
yeah, I agree.
Opinions are like assholes. We all have. I hope. I mean, most of us have one.
We should all have one. That'd be terrible if you didn't.
And if you don't, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we should not make light of that subject.
Yeah. Sorry, New Zealand.
Yeah, I would say, I guess the only other thing just to point out again is focusing on a higher average sale price again does not mean you would never buy something that's going to sell for $20. Like if you want your average sale price to be 60, if you find something for $1 that's going to sell for 20, it's easy for you to ship. I think that's the key for me, right? Like if I'm going to sell something for $20, a record, a laser disc that I can just slap into a mailer real quick and be done with it.
Yeah.
All day. Absolutely. It's easy. It doesn't take anything to do. But I don't want to be spending, I don't want to have to bubble wrap like crazy for something that's only going to sell for $20.
Yeah.
It's just more work than is really necessary. So like I've got 11 things to ship out tomorrow, and a lot of them are bigger things from the pro audio equipment. But if it sells for $125, I'm willing to put in the time to pack it and ship it, and you know what I mean. So yeah,
for sure.
Those are my feelings on the average sale price.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look real quick. We just our top episode that we've had of all time is still Cincinnati Picker. I think it would have really blown up had he not had to delete his video of that particular when he announced he was on it. And then we had our second episode go over 100 listens here recently. So nice. Episode 12 going full time. We've got a couple that were just within a couple listens of 100. Excuse me. So it's going well. 90% of us are from the good old US of A. And speaking of A, Canada's number 2 at 7%.
Nice. Good job, Canada.
Yeah. Oh, Canada. I love that song.
Blame Canada.
Canada's a beautiful place.
It is.
Now, New Zealand's slipping a little bit here.
Uh-oh.
We've got the United Kingdom is up to 1%. So all you blokes over there,
nice.
Thanks for listening. Germany 1%, and then New Zealand at 1%. Australia, mate. Good day, mate.
Good day. Yes.
I'm probably super annoying, but that's at 1%. And for whatever reason, we have some that say 0%. So Puerto Rico, whoever listened that one time isn't listening.
It's not listening anymore.
Oh man. 51% of us listen through Apple Podcasts. That would be the majority of the good people here. And then Spotify, 28%. Web browser. If you listen via your web browser, thanks.
what are you listening on your web browser?
Maybe
Just
through Anchor.com.
Anchor,
I have no idea.
Anchor.com. Huh,
Or
interesting.
Google Podcasts, which I didn't know were a thing, is only 4%, and Pocket Casts are at 2%. Anchor at 2%, and other 7%. Like they've got like a tin can with a string, and they've attached it to our microphone so they can listen. So thank you for listening through via tin can and string.
That's awesome.
Majority of people who listen, I think this has changed a bit, are between the ages of 28 and 34, 47%. 35 to 44, 29%, and then 45 to 59, 15%.
So
And
what's
then
the highest percent? Or the young? Do we have the young kids?
the young, we've got less than 1%, 0 to 17, 3%, basically 3% for the two demographics that go between 18 and 27.
Okay.
But our highest are 28 to 34. So thank you. I guess, are they Gen Z? I don't know what they are. I don't even know what I am. I'm a millennial technically.
They're younger than me. So.
They're younger than me, right?
Yeah.
And then, as we said before, about 80% male, which was a little bit less than what I thought. So 20% female. And so we appreciate each and every person that listened to this podcast. We're doing this to document our journey, but also to kind of let you into our lives, and also to educate in any way we can help you. We don't always have that. It's not always the smoothest of podcasts. We enjoy talking with one another. This is our chance to get out of the text messages and get into a little bit of face-to-face, a little bit of, chatting. It's back in the day, you would say, just call that person on the phone, but now it's like, hey, let's do a podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
So, but we appreciate everybody, and we hope that you enjoy listening to what we have to offer every week. We're at episode 18. I'm excited to get up to episode 20 and just keep building. I think within a year we should have a nice little library of what we've put together so far. And so we're well on our way. We, if you like this podcast and you listened all the way through here, pass it on to somebody else. Pass it on to somebody else you think could use it, that would be beneficial to them, or that you think would enjoy listening to us banter. I know we're going to do something a little different tomorrow night, which this podcast will be released far after that. But we're going to try to do a little bit of a live stream during our Cleveland Browns Thursday night game against the Broncos. So I think I might need to throw some things up on the old Instagram, see if we can get a little interest in our live stream. I know a couple people already who are considering joining us. So
yeah, we'll have to. Yes, we will definitely have to. I guess one thing I'll have to. I just tried to enable our Flip It Curiously for live streaming. It says ready in 24 hours.
Okay, we'll see.
So hopefully it's ready before that.
Yeah.
If not, I could do it. I guess I could do it on.
We could figure it out somehow.
Yeah, I could do it on my channel.
We'll figure it out. So
if need be.
If need be. All right, man. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Brendan, you got anything left to tell to the good people that listen to our banter?
I got nothing. But thank you guys very much for hanging in there. We do appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. So
it is a lot of fun.
We will see you guys. We will talk to you guys again soon.
It won't be
another month.
It won't be a month this time. It won't be a month. Well, if we can get one in right away when I get back before I have ear surgery and have no idea how that surgery is going to affect me for how long, maybe we'll grab one real quick once I get back from the honeymoon. I'd actually enjoy. Probably won't take it. I'd enjoy doing one from Alabama there on the shores. So she's doing a lot of reading, so we'll see what we decide to do. So anyways, thank you all for listening. And until next time, when you're out looking for your treasures, make sure, as always, to flip it
curiously.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, guys.